we don't have the risk appetite in this country to take chances. We know that Australia is traditionally quite risk averse. You can see this play out in corporate cultures. You see this play out in even retail cultures that you see around us. Just in the way, retail businesses run in Australia, the kind of, let's talk about customer service. Customer service is missing in Australia. It's hard to find. You go into a restaurant that is not run by somebody who's a migrant from Asia, there's no customer service, right? You run into retail stores, and again, the customer service that you get in Asia, you will not find that here. So there's a very the scale at which we play. We've got a very independent culture, but the reality is we don't have the bandwidth for startups to scale in Australia. So Australia has to go out. Australian startups, once they're starting to scale, start looking at the US market, so start looking at UK as their first sort of go-to markets. The problem there is you've got a lot of competition already. Everybody's looking at these markets, right? So the other thing that Australia is not doing really well is looking at the other side of the world, this side of the map, which is Asia, India, UAE, Africa. These are brilliant markets, and these markets are opening up really quickly. The disposable income in these markets is really high, and people are hungry for Australian products. Like, Australia has a brand in the world, and that brand is not being leveraged by startups. So on a global scale, I feel like that is one of the bigger problems that Australia has. The other thing I think Australia needs to be doing is, even with the startups, they're not very risk-taking because of the general culture of how Australia operates.
Why do you think that is? Like, what is it that's prompting this sort of a risk-averse culture?
I think it's a couple of things. One is, like I said, we are handed a lot of things on a platter here, right? If you look at our Medicare system, if you look at our, our system, our systems that exist around government processes and things like that, everything is very smooth. It's very set up. It's very set out. So there's no hunger.
But I would challenge that, because you find the same thing in Europe as well. They've got fantastic healthcare systems. They've got fantastic support from the government as well. But we see a lot of innovation coming out of Europe. Whereas over here, and I have felt that as well, the risk-averse culture. I've talked to a lot of people who've had great ideas, who've probably gone outside as well. And if you look at some of our biggest brands, which started as startups, most of their funding also came from America instead of Australia.
Yes.
So what else?